at first I started just selling services to businesses and kind of exploring like how I could provide value and impact. But I knew sales, I knew marketing from my background in business marketing, but there was a lot of marketing I had to learn, because direct response, copywriting, digital marketing strategies, all that stuff was new to me in 2013.
Right.
Typically our buy box is going to be at the lowest, doing $1 million a year, but all the way up to $10 million a year. Our buy box will shift when we're public because we have more, cash resources at that point. We can raise capital at a higher level. Because we've been doing it privately, but at that point, we could do it publicly, which is gives you a greater impact. We spend time with the owner seller and we poke holes, we ask questions, we dig deep, and we identify some of the gaps or why is your answer this, for example, and really try to get that feedback from, the owner seller.
Welcome to another episode of the PRST Podcast. We connect with business owners, movers, and shakers, people that are doing real things. Today's an exciting episode because we're on a brand new set. We got everything set up a little different than what you guys are used to seeing. So we're gonna be here for a little bit, but you're gonna notice we're gonna have changes as we progress with these new series of episodes. On today's episode, we got a pretty cool entrepreneur to bring you, and he's gonna be talking about a category that I'm very interested in, and I know it's gonna help a lot of individuals there. And he's been on the Inc. 5,000 list 2 times, best-selling author, just to name a few. And he's really going to be chefing up a lot of cool information that's going to help you as you navigate into the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years of your life, right? So without further ado, Josh Marsden, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Man, thanks for making it possible. Yes, you know what? I always believe that success loves speed. And entrepreneurs or just business people or just people in general that are looking for a result, the fastest route to getting what you want is to move fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So I'm excited that, I put the invitation out there. You took advantage of it. You have to be in the city. Mm-hmm. And then we made it happen, bro.
For sure, man.
Yeah. That's right. Thanks for being here.
You got to be responsive,
Right.
Be on it right away.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard this from someone that was like super successful, that he said that he is always responding to every text within 2 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's just, when I heard that, I was like, you know what? You just got to be on top of your communication at all times, because you never know what each communication line can lead to.
100%. So with that being said, what led you to the industry that you're in? Because I know you shared a little bit that you were Army brat, so you moved around a little bit.
Yeah.
And what I know is about people that are either in military or they come from a military family or background, they're pretty structured. They're pretty structured. They already got their own life SOP.
Yeah.
What I mean? They take things a little bit more seriously. They know the importance of time.
Yeah.
So, what made you get into this category? Did it take a little bit for you to get into this journey? How does it all look like when you get into buying businesses and ecom?
Yeah, man. I got my start back in 2012, basically, because I left my corporate career in early 2012. And I was doing fairly well there, making about 6 figures a year, winning awards. I was basically a sales manager at University of Phoenix. They called it enrollment manager. And then in 2012, I switched careers, went to a software company called Infusionsoft, now called Keep.
Okay.
And that's what really kind of, got my start, opened my eyes. I started to talk to Ecom business owners, hearing how they were making money online. And I'd never, anything about, making money online at all up to that point. I was just a typical, person that, went to, school, went to college, thought that that's the path, got into, a corporate career, thought that was the path. I had no idea about anything when it comes to making money online. But then that year just opened up my eyes. And then later that year, they let me go. They fired me. And then that was kind of the first kick towards entrepreneurship, because I started to do freelance work and sell services, business automation and marketing automation services around Infusionsoft, because I had learned the software in 2012. And so I had a little bit of work, some clients, not enough to support myself. So I started another job maybe around early March or February that year, 13. And then that job was a B2B knock on business doors sales job, where you had to build relationships with other companies. You had to try to get them to take advantage of the IT products and services that I was representing from the company that I worked for.
Right.
And it was a hustle job, it was a grind job. And but it has lots of possibilities. You can make 6+ figures, but you're going to have to work your tail off. And I had a son. I still have a son. He's 3. He was 3 then. He's 16 now. And so that was a big part of my life, and it was something I cared about. And so this job right away, I told them that I had a son I had to pick up from daycare or preschool. I had to leave about 5 p.m. 1 to 3 days a week. And they gave me a hard time about it because it was
crazy.
Yeah, because it's like our culture is work hard, play hard. You need to come here at 7 a.m. You have to leave at 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I was like, okay. And so I was kind of in a little bit of pickle with them on whether I should say or not. And I strung them along for a few weeks, saying, "Hey, let me see if I could work it out with my son's mother." And I did that for like a good 2 weeks. And finally, going into the third weekend that I was employed by them, they gave me an ultimatum, and they said, "Hey, listen, you need to figure things out this weekend, and you need to let us know by the end of the weekend if you're going to be coming back on Monday. Because if you do, you have to, follow in line. Basically, you have to be here 7 a.m., work till 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's that." I'm like, okay, all right, let me see what I can do. And so that was the weekend that really kind of like gave me a gut check, and I really compared the paths that I could take, whether I could, I had the option to stay there at that company, or I can go all in on building my own business. And that was all I needed, because I felt at that time that I could do it. I felt that I could, build a strong agency serving companies. I didn't know exactly what direction I was going to go in at that point in time. All I knew is that I could sell services to companies because I had already started doing that. I could build on that. And my cost of living was really low, it was really lean. And I just didn't feel like I had much to lose because I had a bachelor's degree in business marketing. I was close to my MBA. I was pursuing it at the time. I did finish it that year. And so I had a fallback plan. And so if it didn't work, I could, go get a job if I really wanted another job. But I knew that I could make it work. And that's what it got all started. So for 9 years, I ran my company as a marketing agency. We pivoted a few times. Like I said before, at first I started just selling services to businesses and kind of exploring like how I could provide value and impact. But I knew sales, I knew marketing from my background in business marketing, but there was a lot of marketing I had to learn, because direct response, copywriting, digital marketing strategies, all that stuff was new to me in 2013.
Right.
And so, but luckily, like I've always been a really good student. I've always, poured myself into learning, different things, from the time I was a kid all the way until even now. And so after I had started, I pivoted a few times. I knew that I wanted to do marketing for ecom businesses because one, I love marketing. I love getting results. I could automate businesses. I could help business owners and businesses save time, create more efficiencies. But it didn't really drive me. What drove me was seeing the sales numbers going up, seeing like the marketing campaign results. That's what drove me. And so I just niched down to that. And as I was working with different businesses, I saw the ecom businesses, physical product, companies had gaps in their marketing always. And there was always value and impact I could provide to them greater than, say, a company that was selling a digital product. They were a little bit more experienced when it came to digital market. But ecom businesses, they care about the brand, they care about the product. And they maybe know the back-end operations, so they don't know direct response digital marketing. And so I was able to provide a lot of value, a lot of impact. And so I niched down in ecom. And, so the first 9 years of my career, as an entrepreneur, I helped literally thousands of ecom businesses through online events, coaching, client services. And then at the end of 2021, there was a good period there where I was trying to sell my business because I had a business coach, Ollie Bilson, in early 2020 tell me that I should sell my business because he knew that I wanted to get out of agency services. He knew that I wanted to pursue something great. And so I came close to selling my company several times. I actually did sell my company one time on a 50-50 partnership, but then we had to dissolve it. It wasn't a good fit. And so at the end of 2021, I just took a hard pivot. I was like, you know what? We're going to stop selling services. We're going to go all in on buying businesses. And I was able to buy my first businesses after literally reading a book that cost $7 from Roland Frazier called Zero Doubt. It's a very thin book. It's not very thick, but it gives you enough to be able to go out and pitch businesses. And I just believed it. And I was able to get my start that way. And then since then, we've had 19 acquisitions. We just closed number 19 this past week. It's a $5.3 million a year company doing $1.1 million net. It's in a category that we're focused on. We're focused on health and beauty brands. And we made the Inc. 5000, the last 2 years. And, we're currently on track to go public here in 2026 and working hard towards that. So that's my story.
So a couple of questions, man, just to kind of like pick out a couple of pieces, right? So for those that don't know, for you to qualify for Inc. 5000, what do you have to do?
Gotcha. You have to be one of the fastest growing companies in America.
And then so fast based on what category?
Revenue.
Okay. So give me an example. So in like a 12-month period, what do they consider fast to be considered?
Yeah. We reported like a little bit over 1,000% growth. But so in 2021, as I mentioned, we were still running my company as marketing agency. And we also, it was a little bit of a grind year because I sold my company to a partner early that year.
Yeah.
And he did it. He bought into my company because he had some ecom brands that he wanted to grow, but he didn't know how to grow them. He had a manufacturing company, so he knew how to create supplements, but I didn't know how to market those. And so he saw that opportunity. And so when we did the deal, after we did the deal, we had to shed a lot of our clients, and that also brought down our revenue, right? And then, I don't know, 90 days or so into it, we both amicably dissolved it and walked away from it, but it left me with a shell of my agency. I didn't have a lot of clients. I didn't have a lot of revenue, so I had to grind.
Right.
And so that year wasn't like a great year revenue-wise. But then the next year, we pivoted and we started selling aged ecom automation store offers to people that wanted to have percentages of ecom businesses as we were buying them. So this way they can get profit share out of those outputs. Yeah. So it allowed us to raise capital to buy companies, but it also helped them because they were able to get into ecom as an asset in their investment portfolio. And now all those investors are now stockholders in Arm 5, and they're just, patiently waiting for us to make it public, So we jumped from like around like 500,000 in 2021 to like 1.7 or something in 2022.
So you think that's because of the business model?
Yeah, the business model.
Yeah, you changed the model. How many acquisitions did you do in that time period?
I think the first year in 2022, we probably did around 7 to 10. We were going hard. We were being aggressive.
You was using the zero down model for all of them initially?
Well, I was able to get one business for zero.
Okay.
But if that business were available right now, I would not buy it.
Gotcha.
Like the first year was a lot of lessons. Like we definitely failed forward. Like we bought businesses that were very small, where we got into partnerships with a few companies that weren't in our best interest. But that's how you learn.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
What's going on? It's Brendan Boyd, and I want to tell you something. What you guys need to do is get in the room. Whether you want to learn how to leverage podcasting to take your business to that next level, or you want to learn how to structure and scale your offers, you need to get in the room and get in front of more people. The Podcast at Cast Tour is where you need to be, and we're going to be heading to 14 cities. So I know there's one near you. Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, Boston, New York, Toronto, LA, San Diego, Oakland, Austin, Houston, Dallas. Pull up to the tour. Bring a friend. This is the #1 media and business monetization tour out there. Podcast at Cast Tour. Click the link below. Grab a ticket. Cannot wait to see you in the room. I want to meet you. I want to help you grow your business through media. I'll see you on the other side.
What's the mindset, right? So obviously you had an agency that was doing one thing, providing like the marketing and the automation services.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Then you put your business in position to sell it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And then that eventually transitioned to you now seeing another opportunity which leads to you acquiring, right?
Right.
So what's the mindset going from a whole different model to this other model? Because the cool thing about mergers and acquisitions, I feel like is you can be really creative in acquiring a business.
Yeah.
No right or wrong.
Right.
I read this book by Reginald Lewis. Are you familiar with the book? It's called Why. I think the correct title is Why do White Guys Have All the Fun?
Oh, okay.
Right. So he was one of the first black men to become a billionaire through mergers and acquisitions.
Nice.
He was buying food companies.
What company?
Food. Like
Nice.
Black
Yeah.
food-based company.
That's awesome.
And he was talking about all the different ways he was purchasing, but then ultimately he started doing roll-ups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when it comes to M&A in your space, what were like the purple cow or the opportunity that you saw that you was like this could actually be something that we could really be successful?
Yeah. Well, I knew that agency services is a tough gig. Like I appreciate the path. I appreciate the clients we had. I loved some of our clients. I learned a lot. I really had to dive into becoming the best I could be and become the best, ecom marketer I could possibly be. But building an agency is a lot of operational friction.
Yeah.
A lot of work, and there's a lot of variables because I was even talking to another agency owner in the last few months. This guy Dylan, you probably know him from a group we're in, Dylan Vanis.
Yeah.
And we were just talking on WhatsApp back and forth, and he said that the hardest thing about running an agency is replicating the quality of work that you would personally do.
Right.
And I'm like, yep, I know that feeling. I know how that is. But really, what caused me to pivot was that I knew I really could not build wealth as an agency owner or selling service.
That's a good that's a good note.
And you have a finite amount of time in your life, right? And also, like, there's no reason why anybody out there, if they could have a bigger vision and accomplish more in less time.
Right.
And again, I'm very much like a reader, and I consume a ton of content. And you've got Benjamin Hardy, 10x is easier than 2x book.
It's
amazing book.
It's true.
And it's true.
I have that book.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's a great book. I read the whole thing, and I was like, that kind of changed my perspective a bit. And then talking to guys like Dan Martell at Baby Bathwater years ago, just there's plenty of other examples of people that I've connected with on some level, whether it be book or in person. And it just made me, think that, what, I'm playing small. Like, I'm playing small. And if I really want to accomplish what I want to accomplish, and that's having a deeper impact, that's creating wealth for my family, my legacy, I got to get out of this model.
I too had those visions, and I too have to start. so like I can empathize with what you're saying, because I got an agency model right now. Like, I have an education company, but also have an agency model, right? So my agency model was and I actually empathize with, what was the gentleman you said? Dylan, right?
Yeah.
Because what Dylan was saying, when you try to replicate like the level of service that you have. So
right.
I can create a quick little side note, and then I get back to what I was saying. So my agency, it helps entrepreneurs get on podcasts, right? So it provides exposure services, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I realized is, once they get on podcasts, they don't do nothing with the content, right? So then I had another support, which was also recurring, where we take that content from all the pods that they have on. We would, this was kind of before Opus, but we would chop it all up, but we would redistribute it with a strategy. Because you could chop it all up and then just post it anywhere, but if the clips ain't good parts of the clips, it's not gonna matter. But what I realize is most people go on the show and then go home. They have all this backlog of content that they don't do nothing with, but they want to keep going on podcasts. But it's like, you have all the stuff that you can redistribute. Yep. So anyway, we had an editing agency, and I got up to like $20K a month. Mm-hmm. But then I hired someone to manage it so I could keep doing what I was doing, and they didn't manage it well. Right, so when I took my eye off it, it ended up not working. So I can emphasize with You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
With that. Now, with this agency, the exposure agency, me just doing the math, like 28 clients is $100K a month at one of the business. At one of the price points.
Mm-hmm.
That's 1.2 million just off of that 28 clients. But then I'm thinking like, okay, cool. If I double that, that's 56. That's $2.4 million. But do I really want to manage 60 clients essentially? Right.
Yep.
And then even though they don't necessarily need me per se, like you were saying earlier, it's still a lot of work. Right. Before we started filming, I was sharing with you, I kind of like did Ryan Reynolds' strategy where he's acquiring these companies, and because of his acting background and because he purchased a media company, right, he's adding media, he's adding the marketing, he's adding the messaging, and the connection between that end consumer with the brand, product, and service.
Yep.
Was kind of ingratiates him, and then he just raises the equity, the social capital, right, and then he just resells it.
Yep.
So I thought that was amazing. Like I think that's a really good way to kind of combine media with an acquisition.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what my mouth is.
Yeah, he's a smart entrepreneur.
Yeah. So I really like that. Like you saw how, okay, cool. If I want to build wealth and I want to build it faster, this model is fine, but it's going to take me more time.
Or you just won't build wealth out of it. Because you couldn't build cash flow and you got stressed it, it could do well for you. But thing is that equity's king. Equity is what really builds wealth. All the billionaires of the world know that.
Right.
So, so even got to start somewhere. First business I bought was probably worth like 150,000. This last one, 3.3 million. So,
same amount of work in terms of acquiring. Same conversations.
Just about. Maybe a little bit more. It's a little bit longer tail, but
yeah.
It's about it's similar work.
So, right now, like since you just finished the next acquisition, or you doing
Yep.
So, what do you see now? Is that in your buy box? You only stay in the buy box when you buy these businesses now? Are you going for like 50 acquisitions? Are you looking for certain different what's motivating you at this point?
Yeah.
It kind of seems like you got some momentum.
Yeah, we do, which I'm thankful for. It's due to God above.
Right.
But we only want to buy beauty and health companies.
Okay.
Established, cash flowing, profitable. Typically our buy box is going to be at the lowest doing $1 million a year.
Okay.
But all the way up to $10 million a year. Our buy box will shift when we're public because we have more, cash resources at that point. We can raise capital at a higher level. Because we've been doing it privately, but at that point, we could do it publicly, which is gives you a greater impact. But we have a rigorous process now at this point, just because we've learned. We've had a lot of mistakes. We've bought businesses we had no business of buying, but we were learning. You fail forward.
So you got a one partner or a small team now?
I'm the sole owner, so no partnerships. I do have some team members have equity because they've earned it.
Yeah.
And it's a small team.
So you bring the decision to them, you guys talk about it, or do you make the decision and then they kind of add in?
Yeah, it depends on, what the decision is. But yeah, like acquisitions, I've got an acquisition director.
There you go.
Like all credit goes to him for this latest acquisition.
Right.
Like I
spotted it.
He did all the work. Yeah. He did all the work. But he also, but he's paid for. He's got a salary, but he's paid performance too. Mm-hmm. He's paid a commission based on the level of the acquisition, and he's also paid in stock also of the company per app.
Yeah, so he's doing work.
Yeah. So he
got some incentive.
Yeah. But it's all him. He did a great job, and he really knows his stuff. And we had a process, and we have an AI even that former team member built. Kudos to Carl Schuker for doing that when he was with us.
And does the AI scour looking for opportunities from the buy box?
So that AI is not a deal flow AI. It's more of a offer grading AI.
Gotcha.
So it grades the offer we're thinking about making against prior 12 months performance of the company.
I like that.
Profit and loss statement. So we'll load into the profit and loss statement. And we'll also tell it this is the offer we're considering making. We'll stack it, seller financing, earnout, et cetera. And then it'll give us like a long, detailed feedback on whether it's a good offer for us to continue with. Does it hit our minimum requirements? Like, for example, we have a 1.8 debt service ratio, and it'll tell us if we're going to hit that based on prior performance of the company versus the offer we want to make.
Yeah.
And if it's not meeting the minimum criteria, then it'll give us suggestions on what to change in the offer.
So you can do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's pretty.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That sounds like good to that.
Yeah. Hey, we give to all of our clients the acquisition method. So, part of our business is also teaching people how to, or doing it for them, help showing them how they can buy a cash flowing, established, profitable ecom business. We've had, various successes already in it. We just launched it middle of last year, kept it kind of private. We're about to go a little harder this year in 2026. But, we had a guy, for example, that, has a bachelor's degree, makes $60,000 a year, and then pretty much stuck in supply chain. As he calls it, he's a grunt. And he bought a business with no ecom background, no business background, doing $1.2 million a year, $350,000 a year in profit. And he did it with no money out of his own pocket because we taught him strategies. We coached him every step of the way. We basically held his hand, and credit to him. He was hungry. He was driven. He took action, joining the program. And then he also just showed up consistently every single week.
So you believe that this is, for anyone watching or listen, do you believe that mergers and acquisitions by businesses is a good industry for people to consider or just get into when they look to build wealth?
100%, 110%. I think that everybody should have at least one or two businesses in their portfolio, because private equity, you can have much more explosive returns.
Yeah.
However, there's risk. There's definitely risk, but there's risk in everything. And there's this guy I've talked to recently, for example, that was thinking about joining our program, and you could just tell he just had a ton of fear because he just kept during the conversation, I addressed all those questions, but then after the conversation, he was texting our office line, asking the same damn question.
Right.
And it's like, dude, I've already addressed your questions. You're just afraid, and you're just.
Was he more so afraid about the investment?
I think he was afraid of what could happen, not the investment necessarily. He was just more afraid of what could happen, and
before it happened.
Yeah, exactly. And it just if
we worried about step 6, and he only
couldn't too much. It's fear, It's that scarcity mindset,
right.
That fear-based mindset, and a lot of people have it, and I probably had it too at one point. But luckily, I became an entrepreneur and I've expanded how I think. But yeah, so I don't know why I bring that up. It's just, I think everybody should own a business because, it's just, if you do it right, follow the right process, we've got a blueprint, that you're going to end up with a cash flowing business doing at least $10,000 to $30,000, maybe even more per month in free cash flow. And that could be life changing.
No, 100%.
A lot of different people. And it's also an asset that can continue to grow, that other markets can't impact, unlike real estate, for example, and then you could sell it in 12 to 24 months, and we have an advisement program too. Whenever we help someone buy a business, we can continue to work with them and help them grow the business, and we're invested in their ongoing success. We have a small stake in their business after they buy the business.
Yeah.
And so this way we can really help them turn it into a multi 6-7 figure exit in 1 to 2 years.
So where did your mindset come from in terms of looking at things like this? Obviously you read, right? Obviously, you have vision, but obviously you didn't always think like this, right? And you said, you did admit to having a little bit of fear, some scarcity, right? So
Totally.
Do you recall a moment where you was just no more, or was it gradual? Was it a person, a series of books, a situation? What do you recall that really helped ignite a higher level of thinking than a bigger vision?
It's just being in, it was something that probably started a long time ago in my entrepreneur journey. When I first went to my first business event, for example, I went to the first business event I ever went to was late 2014, the Machine Live by a digital marketer. And that was my first time connected with other entrepreneurs, hearing, what they're doing to make money, hearing about the challenges, talking to people, connecting, making friends with people that are retired and they're my age, So that was the first, domino. And I just think over time, it was just like being at different events, joining different masterminds over the years. And I've been blessed to be around a lot of smart people that are very successful. And I think there's putting myself in those rooms expanded my mind and helped me think with less limitations and helped me to challenge myself to go bigger. And it taught me a lot of the things that I've learned about building wealth, buying businesses, etc.
What do you think was the most impactful room that you were in? Was it a room that you invested in, or was it a room that you didn't have to invest in?
I think every room that I've been in that's been valuable has really contributed to your original question, the change in my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a room that I'd pay for, well, whether it's an event or whether it's a mastermind.
Yeah, you think it's important for people to do that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Should it be free though?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You gotta pay something.
You gotta pay something.
Yeah, you gotta pay something
for sure.
Yeah, sure.
But and by paying something, for one, you are invested.
I agree.
And then you're gonna really work to turn it into something positive.
Definitely.
A positive ROI if you're smart. Which most people are. And plus, it keeps the tire kickers and keeps the people that are just gonna waste your time and energy anyway out of that.
Was there one room that you can recall? I know we talked about a couple of rooms, before.
Yep.
Dan Fleischman.
Yep.
Right, and then obviously the Shark, right?
Yep.
So, and there's probably other rooms that you've been in. What was there like one or two individuals that really had like crazy impact on you? It may not have even been business wise. It could have just been life, energy, a conversation.
Yeah.
Do you recall who that was, and maybe something that was said that really kind of like stuck with you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I'd have to say the first name that comes to mind, just because, I'm down this path because of the content and the mission that he was on up until recently, was Roland Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
He published Zero Down, $7 book. You just pay shipping. That led to me buying my first business and buying several even off of that book. I didn't even join his Epic program until after I had bought a few businesses after reading his $7 book.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's impactful.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, and even before that, he had a lot of impact on me. Him and the digital marketer community and the group had a lot of impact on my career. So I definitely have to, give my hats off to Roland for one. As far as someone else that comes to mind, I mean, I would just, Benjamin Hardy in that book that I told you about,
He's in it too much.
Yes. Yeah. That book, after I remember I couldn't put that book down for
that book is like, you should read that every year.
Yeah.
That's one of those January books.
Oh, I need to read his newer book too, because I think he has like one or two newer books.
Well, which one you recall what that might be?
I don't know the name.
Let me see.
Yeah. But I remember when I started reading that book, I couldn't put it down, and then afterwards, it definitely shifted like my way of thinking. And not that it wasn't something completely brand new and fresh, because like Todd Herman, he's got the 90-day year, for example.
Yeah, that's
and that obviously makes you think that you can accomplish what you think takes a year in 90 days.
Or Be Yourself Now. I don't know if that was.
No, it's probably not that one.
Yeah, so you got Be Yourself Now, Who Not How, 10x the Gap in the Game, The Science of Scaling. Oh, The Science of Scaling. Yeah, I actually just ordered that. So over there.
Oh, cool.
I didn't get a chance to read it yet.
Nice.
Your Ideal Future. Yeah. Oh, a friend of mine recommended that, and then he has one that's called Willpower Doesn't Work.
Yeah, that's a good book too. I actually read that book.
Yeah, for sure. You got me thinking a lot about it, bro. So, would you mind breaking something down?
Sure.
So for the people that can't fathom purchasing a business right now,
okay,
if you had to like break it down to like some steps, they can research the steps. I want to kind of give them a quick little run through, maybe quick little roadmap.
Sure.
Well, what are the steps they'll go through? 10 steps, 8 steps. What are some steps that they need to go to to spot and then plan out an acquisition at the end?
Okay, I got it. Well, first start looking.
Okay.
Simple. Just start looking at businesses. Go to Biz Buy Sell, go to Flippa, Empire Flippers. I mean, there's plenty of websites.
So they need to get an account?
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's free.
All right, so open up an account free at these places where you can see these businesses that are available for purchase.
Correct. Yeah. because that's going to first like just open up your eyes, right, and help you see the possibilities, and then you can start to figure out, okay, how can I buy this business? There's various ways, you can buy businesses. I mean, and then after that, I mean, you just, and then this is the part that's hard to, just to teach, especially like on a podcast.
Right.
But like, what questions to take someone through? Like our questionnaire is this long freaking questionnaire.
When you say questionnaire to take through, you're talking about the owner of the business?
Yeah. Like you want to, do your due diligence.
Gotcha.
Right. And we have this long questionnaire that we've honed, over the years we've been doing this now. And we have a owner seller go through it. But then we also, after we get the answers back, we spend time with the owner seller and we poke holes, we ask questions, we dig deep, and we identify some of the gaps or why is your answer this, for example, and really try to get that feedback from, the owner seller. So I would say then, just to answer your question, get some, some value here, ask lots of questions. It'd be great if you had a system, obviously, but if you don't, still, dig deep, ask lots of questions, find out what's working in the business, find out what's not, find out what challenges they've had in the business, find out if the business has a moat, which means that it's a metaphor for you've got a business, is the business of the castle. Castle has a river around it. Does the business have, like, for example, several different traffic channels,
right,
or is it just one traffic channel dependent? Because if it has many traffic channels, then it has a little bit more of a moat. Does it have trademarks? Does it have IP? That's also contributing to the moat because they have unique differentiation in their business versus competitors out there,
Gotcha.
for example. So try to dig deep on things like that. Look at their cash flow. Look at their profit and loss statement in detail over the last 12 months.
If a business doesn't have that, is that a red flag?
Yeah, then just don't even talk to them. That's why, because they don't even take their finances seriously.
100%.
So. Yep. So
and then, no, go ahead. You just made me think so.
Yeah, all good. I was just gonna say, when you look at the profit and loss statement, like a red flag would be if they have like at least half the year negative, and if they have maybe a few months negative, like maybe 3 at the most, that's not a red flag. It's a yellow flag, but it's not a red flag. But you do want to find out, okay, what happened in this last, for example. So really look at the financial statements in detail.
Does seller motivation matter?
No, not really. Not really.
Have you been in a situation buying where you brought the opportunity to the seller, they weren't maybe not even ready to purchase, but ready to sell, and you were just like, hey, this is an opportunity?
Like you're trying to take someone that wasn't thinking about something.
Yeah.
No.
It's more so people that kind of think about it.
Yeah. I mean, I know that you can, like Roland, for example, and him and I talked about this at one point years ago. You can get better deals, outside of broker networks and outside like Flippa and BizBuySell
That are not listed.
Yeah, and we have an SOP. We have a process for using Apollo, for example, where you can you use Apollo's AI to reach out to ecom business owners on LinkedIn and get them to start conversations with you about the value of their business, and then that could lead to would you like to sell it, or would you like to maybe partner up and scale it up? We could do that, but we have so much deal flow at this point. We don't even need to. But for anybody that's starting, it's a good process for sure. And they should definitely implement that. It's quick and easy, and it could lead to good deals possibly. But it's going to be a little harder though to convince someone that doesn't have the mindset of selling. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
So it's much easier when someone is mentally committed to selling their business.
Based on your research and your expertise, are there any categories of businesses people should maybe avoid purchasing, or maybe shouldn't be in the top 2 or 3 types of business?
Apparel.
Okay.
And as I say that, I feel bad because my fiance, she put together a apparel business recently. But hey, if you're passionate about an idea, go for it. It's all good. But apparel businesses are like the number one fail. Businesses, that business model typically fails, and it's just too competitive.
Yeah.
So apparel, definitely is up there. I can't think of any other categories necessarily. Yeah.
All right. So
I was just anti-apparel.
I've been thinking about it. So okay, let's take somebody like me. So how I'm looking at it is, I can acquire businesses that are in media, or I could do like Ryan Reynolds, find, maybe a certain category or a buy box that makes sense, and then add in the media.
Yeah.
What do you think makes sense? And if I was in media, if I was buying media, what would I buy? Because now think about, from my perspective, like podcasters who have podcasts, most of them don't have a business.
Yeah.
Like they don't even set it up as a business.
Right.
So
They don't know how to monetize.
and they don't know how to monetize. So that's not even structured as a business.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't realize they're a media company.
It's like hobby, basically.
100%. So it's not a business, and they're not making money. So that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I'll be scouring through the weeds, like, right? So that one doesn't make sense. What would you say probably might be something to look at?
Yeah, I say because of your background and the fact you are in media, I'd say follow the Ryan Reynolds route and just find like a good product-based business you could add media to. The opportunity.
Yeah. Because he's already doing it, so that's probably a good indication that that's a good way to go.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
For sure.
Bro, so what do you do for now? You keep your foot on the gas, keep doing the same thing. How do you expand? I know you talked about going public. So what is that going to look like? I feel like that's the next wave for you, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's been it's been fun, just learning, the different ways you can go public and the qualifications, and it's very dynamic. Like I was just in LA last week, and I met with a institutional bank out there that I connected to from directipo.com, who I'm working with to take my company public. And he was saying that the rules for like the NASDAQ, they change like all the time, and they barely give you a heads up, for example, so it's a very dynamic place and dynamic process. But yeah, I mean, just to answer your question, I mean, look, we're going to stay in our lane, continue to buy health and beauty brands that are successful, that are profitable. This will continue to create more and more value in our company for our shareholders. And also so we can continue to increase our revenue, our profits before we go public, because that's going to obviously jack up our valuation and also the stock price. Also, we do want to figure out, we've got a blueprint done, but we don't have the software done. I have a vision to create an agentic AI for Ecom. And so basically it's like 8 different AI agents that can run various aspects of an Ecom business. And right now we're building the company up after shedding a lot of weight in the last year and a half. And we're building it up with an agentic AI first mindset.
Gotcha.
And we just finished like a retention marketing AI system, for example, that's like an MVP of one of the feature sets that we see in R5 Formula AI is what we're calling it. Pretty simple because it's my company, So we're trying to, just continue to go down that path. Like that's number one, build an agentic AI first Ecom aggregator. This we can go into the public markets and command max value. Because according to my research, and I don't know for sure if this is going to happen, this is just research I've done, we could get an 8x to 12x or even up to a 20x of our revenue.
That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we can really explode onto the scene and create a lot of impact and a lot of value for our shareholders. And that's our mission. That's our number one. So that's number one. And then, number two along the way, as I mentioned before, last year I started my acquisition method program where I help people buy businesses.
Yeah.
We've already changed a few lives. We want to continue to change more and more lives. And we're going to definitely expand on that this year. Get my personal brand out there a bit more, and also just work on the marketing to get more sales opportunities into that program. Because I do feel like that, as I mentioned earlier, that everybody should own at least one cash flowing business in their investment portfolio.
I'm with you. I think that's smart. So I need to get on a good foot.
For sure. Everybody does.
Right. What motivates you, man? So would you say, would it be just your big vision? Would it be family? Would it be wealth accumulation?
Yeah.
Combination of all?
Yeah, it's a combination of it all. I'm a bit of I push myself to extremes. I do like crazy CrossFit style workouts by a former Navy SEAL, former CrossFit pro, like I just did one earlier. And I'm also like biking 100 miles this upcoming Sunday in a race.
I'm about to get a bike too.
Nice.
Yeah, because I've been always interested in cycling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get there. So I sure.
You're not going to look cool, man. I mean, you're going to have to put on the helmet.
I know.
You know, it's not going to look cool.
Hey, I seen this dude though. He looks cool. I'm gonna send him to you.
Okay.
He got a whole fit. But yeah, I think it's just
Yeah, it's true, man. I mean, my son teases me about it, you know, because he's Mr. Cool.
right.
But yeah, you know, it's just, I just want to, I'm all about loving life and just maximizing everything you can get out of life.
Yeah.
And the only way you could do that is make money, obviously.
Right.
But along the way, don't forget that money is just a tool, and money's not as important as family. And it's also not as important as creating impact. Impact comes first before money.
All right.
And, you know, and so that's what drives me, is just creating impact, serving my family, you know, maximizing my opportunity here, and living my best life.
And I love that, bro. I love that. So I definitely appreciate you for stopping by. This has been awesome. We got to have you back. Whether we come out there and I interview you, maybe bring by one of the businesses you take me in the field.
Yeah.
Kind of give a different perspective so people can actually see what's going on. I think that would be cool.
Cool.
I haven't been to AZ in a while, so I'll take that flight.
Sounds good. Just don't come during the summer, man.
It's going to be extremely hot. But it's like that here, too.
Yeah.
Well,
That's true.
Isn't it dry? It's dry over there.
Yeah, it's dry. It's not humid.
Over here,
I know.
you got to take showers. You got to take like 3 or 4 showers.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be pretty cool. And then your book. How do we get your book to some people that are watching? I can purchase a couple. We could give some away. How do we make that?
Yeah, no, for sure, man. You know, my book's a little dated at this point, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
I've had 2 books I published on Facebook advertising for Ecom.
Yeah.
You know, it's very aligned with being a marketing agency owner. I do have a book that I've been working on that it's not close to fruition yet, but it's going to show people how to buy a business.
Okay.
Basically, it's like my version of Zero Down.
Gotcha.
Basically.
Yeah. How we get them in that wait list?
Yes.
What they need to go to follow you so they can stay up on that.
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram, Josh Scale. It's probably best. And or you can even just go to arm5formula.com, visit our site, fill out the form to join our email list. And if you don't, we're going to retarget you, and you're going to join us as supporting.
You gonna come anywhere, right? So listen, you guys, make sure you click that link below. Tap into Josh. It's been an amazing podcast. Before we dip, though, I want to ask you this: based on your life right now, if you had to give someone watching a bit of advice or something to avoid, to make their life easier.
Oh, okay.
What's one thing that you would throw out there for them to avoid?
Good question. I would say, well, there are 2 things that come to mind. Avoid a bad relationship.
Yeah.
Avoid drugs and alcohol. And there's nothing wrong with having a drink from time to time, but like my mom says, everything in moderation. Because it's just gonna take you away from like your purpose, your mission. Definitely. So there's times for it. There's times where you need to say no, and just focus on work.
Right.
Focus on your family, things like that. So, but yeah, I'd say that's my answer to that.
All right, cool. You heard it from Jobs. Listen, the link's going to be below. He got a new book coming out pretty soon. We don't know what it's going to be, but click the link. Follow him on Instagram. We're also going to leave the link below for his company, R5. So just tap in, learn a little bit more. And like you said, you should at least own one business. So at least holding me accountable. So I'm going to start looking so I can get to it as well. So yeah, bro, again, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm glad that you took me up on the invitation. And, you're one of the first people on a new setup.
Nice.
So that's amazing. And, anytime you want to come back, feel free to come back. But I definitely want to set it at time so we can come out there and you kind of show me around. And
sure.
You can bring the cameras out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share with the people before we get out of here?
Besides that, if you're on Facebook, we do have a free group. If you type in Online Business Buyers Club, they'll come up. It's free, we do webinars every month for people.
Yeah.
Just
Business Buyers Club.
Yeah, Business Buyers Club. Yep, you'll find it. And we bring in special guests, like we had Chris Crone on in January. We've had previous guests like Eric Gunderson, New York Times bestselling.
Chris was here last year.
Nice. Yeah, nice. So and I do webinars too on my own, just teaching people how to buy a business, giving them the opportunity to do so with our help, obviously, as well. We also bring investment opportunities to the group from time to time where they can become partners and stockholders in our company. So yeah, go to that group if you're on Facebook. This way you can see, you can learn more, and you can also see the opportunities that we have for you.
Awesome. You heard him, man. You heard him here first. Make sure you guys tap into this episode. If you made this far, we appreciate you. Follow Josh, check out his company, and stay tuned to another episode of the Art of Pursuit podcast. We'll see you guys soon. Later.